This is Lauren.
This is Trey.
And this
is the Partnership Podcast.
Cut that out.
Yeah, we're not including that. Cut that out.
Good morning, baby.
Good morning.
I have absolutely no idea. That's a great way to start a podcast.
And thanks for coming to this week's episode of the Partnership Podcast, where we care about your time.
We do. We do. We're so mindful. We're so mindful. How are you feeling about last week's content, putting that out in the world, sharing those uncomfortable things? Do you even remember what last week's podcast was?
Yeah, babe. Yeah. I haven't been on acid all week, for fuck's sake.
If you're watching... If you're watching.
Whoa, where am I?
His
no,
face
I'm present.
was like, I couldn't tell if you were like, I don't know what we did. Like, we talk a lot, honey. We talk a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. No, I'm okay with it. Yeah, we talked about, it's a vulnerable thing, but I think more couples maybe need to have the conversation. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah.
And it was great where it's like, yeah, no, that's not a good idea.
Yeah. It was really neat. And, you know, the audience has heard us talk before about the importance you and I both place on us having coaches and mentors in our own lives, not just coming to one another to be the coach, the therapist, the guide. No. And so I got to work with my coach yesterday, shout out Robin. And yeah, we did a lot of pushing into my avoidant strategies, my desire to do everything on my own in order to keep you from being hurt and wounded. That was something really interesting that came up, is my deep fear of hurting you.
I feel like we both have that avoidance strategy.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if I'm in unhealth, I know if I'm isolating, or I feel like I need to do it all on my own, or I'm bothering or being too much, I know I'm in unhealth.
And then I'm curious, why? Why do you avoid?
I would say that it has to do with, I can trust in myself to do it. And then if I can't do it, I know exactly who to blame, which is me.
Yeah.
So then it's like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. Fuck it. I'll do it by myself.
Yeah.
Because it's gotten me to where it's brought me success. Or at least I can just depend on me and I don't have to depend on others, because depending on others is very, very vulnerable.
Yep. So that's basically verbatim what came up. And so it's interesting, y'all. You know, Stan Tatkin talks about attachment patterns in different ways, and I do enjoy them. He talks about islands, which would be what Trey and I go to. Waves, he likes that as opposed to an anxious attachment style. And then anchors, right? This idea that when we are in body and operating in health, we are anchored to ourselves and to others, and it's okay. It is okay to be interdependent and intradependent. And it's okay also that our bodies shy away from codependency, because we've seen the nasty sides of those types of things, truly. And it is interesting in Trey and my dynamic that you and I absolutely both go to the same thing. We're both like, yeah, go ahead.
Codependency was never an option for me as a child because my mother wasn't trustworthy. Was codependency ever an option for you? Were you ever able to just like wholeheartedly rely on somebody else? Or weren't you like an adult at 11?
I think I was indoctrinated to be codependent upon the religious system.
Okay.
And upon my father, right? This idea that, which was odd, because I was also simultaneously applauded for greater independence, greater ability to be on my own and function, take care of the household.
Yeah, your baby sister is 11. You two are 11 years apart. So wasn't it your job to wake up in the middle of the night to take care of an infant when you were 11 or 12?
Yeah, she found journal entries in her baby book that she recently found. And my mother actually says, you know, and this is so easy because Lauren's doing all the work. That's not okay, you guys. I remember a therapist telling me this when I was a newlywed. She was listening to all of this and she was like, that's called parentification. Did you feel parentified? And I just remember going, no, I loved it. And I did. There was a part of me that really did, but I wasn't given other options. it was, and then we're going to sleep in the basement in our master suite that we've remodeled, and you're going to get up through the night with a baby, with an infant. And I was 11. It's not healthy for an 11-year-old. It's like just downright unhealthy.
Because you have to go to school and you have to do all those things too, right?
Yeah. And then I was also, told these like, tools. And so my parents were like kind of cry it out people. And so, it was only go get her if her cry escalates to this amount. And now my sweet baby sister has abandonment wounds that were technically caused by me that we have had to work on repairing. So anyway, talk about a cluster and talk about the reasons that are important to look at our families of origin. They are. They really are. But it was interesting work yesterday of that intent doesn't negate harm. So my intent when I go to these avoidance strategies of, you know what, I'll release you and I can write a book. I'll just do it separately so I don't hurt you. That has a beautiful intent, which is not to harm. And yet, shocker, the impact is that it harms. And my coach looked at me and said, Trey adores you. And I burst into tears. He wants to be there with you as you grow and become. And it was really interesting because you tell me this all the time. You tell me, you've said it on this podcast, this idea that you want, that's a requirement. And it was really interesting to hear somebody else say it.
Why is that important where we sometimes need from a trusted source to hear it from someone else? Why is that so important?
I think we could talk about it from two different angles because you've shared it before, like with a different coach saying it, like different swing coach, different movement coach. And it's just, you hear it slightly differently. I think if every human being is unique, they speak slightly different dialects, I guess we could say, right? They use different analogies or terminology, or they're straight shooter versus a roundabout. I also think we learn the things we're supposed to learn when we're supposed to learn them. And maybe since I am putting money into this, I also have more open ears. That makes it sound mean, as if they're closed to you, and that is not what I mean. But
we're around each other all the time. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a little bit of the third concept of, well, you have to say that, right? Esther Perel talks about this with desirability. Of when your husband tells you, you look beautiful in that dress, you're like, yeah, you have to say that. But when you get the attention from an outsider, you're like, I feel sexy in this dress. And do you think it maybe could be a little bit that too?
1,000%. Because like, honey, I love you, but it's like when you say like your body looks amazing and stuff like that, it's like,
Really?
let me run that back too. I love hearing that, but like, it's different when I'm out and a woman looks me up and down.
Yeah.
That I have no idea who she is, and she like looks me up and down. It's just different.
And I'd argue it would be the same thing if I wanted to use something that like literally I do know about. Your cooking's really great. If I tell you, oh my God, this tastes so good, and you're kind of thinking, well, she has to say that because she knows the process that I've been putting into the cooking. But if we went to family dinner and you had been the one to bring the chicken, and all of those folks who love you but aren't in your day-to-day life said, Trey, this chicken is phenomenal. We hear it in a different way. Same thing the wife says. And yet, yeah, there's that third. There's that outside.
It's accurate.
So that's one of my theories as to why my ears went, huh? He wants this of me? Wild that the deeper, further in we go into partnership, the more vulnerable it becomes.
Yeah.
Feels like an oxymoron.
It's like it's supposed to get easier.
Yeah.
I think there's pitfalls to that. Maybe, yeah, the fear of not wanting to rock the boat. And I think the natural thing is like you lose polarity, meaning the feminine and the masculine, and then it all kind of blends together. And then you're kind of like, oh shit, we're like roommates slash business partners slash like home caretakers or kids caretakers. And you probably stop dating each other. You probably actually start dressing similarly. And there may not be a lot of like intimacy and sex, the loss of polarity. I don't think I've ever experienced it, but I've like, when I was taught these things, it's like, be very careful of this. The whole, now that I'm in a relationship, I can kick my feet up and it's taken care of. It's like, you can't do that. You have to continue to date your person.
Yesterday, in 2 of the podcasts that I was interviewed on, somebody said, what turns you on? And the other person said, what arouses you? Or it was so funny, or what's orgasmic to you? It was just so interesting that they both asked a similar question, but different words. And I think both times I said something along the lines of the unknown, curiosity, because one of the greatest pitfalls inside of partnership, long-term partnership, can be exactly what you were saying, this idea that we already know the outcome. And yeah, kicking our feet up and being like, oh, she'll do that, he'll do that, right? Oh, he unloads the dishwasher, I do this. It's roommates. It's great business partnership, but it's also incredibly boring. And the thing that I claim about myself is the joy I get in an element of the unknown, the joy I get in, as I grow and expand, wanting to be known as this version to you, not the last version, this version. And it's amazing. To be able to request that, to be able to request, hey, I'd like to go on a date because I'm growing and shifting. And I want to introduce you to this next version of me, this version that I'm finding myself in now. And also creating spaces to play. I mean, same element for me, where we don't know the outcome, where sex doesn't look like A plus B equals C, where, yes, warm sex is existing. That's beautiful and wonderful, but it's not going to turn me on in the same way. It's really not. And what you were hinting at, this idea of sameness, there is great comfort in it. There is great comfort in routine, same, oneness, yada, yada.
Until there's not.
Exactly.
Until somebody maybe blows it the fuck up.
And
4 Seasons on Netflix. We're watching that with Steve Carell. It's very good.
yeah, it's
And
precious.
it was like, oh my God, I'm going to die like this. And I feel like the other person has given up. And that other person may be so happy in their routine.
Which then brings us in, that desire to keep another comfortable is not loving, it's attachment. And it can feel like, why on earth would I bring something up? Why on earth would I rock the boat? Which we got to see in real time on the podcast last week. We got to see that Lauren wanting a book, Trey being like, hey, what if we open our relationship so you don't have to stress about me as you're writing your book? Both uncomfy topics. And yet we're not people interested in just staying the same. Yes, look at 4 Seasons, right? It happens all the time. I would say one of my largest demographics is people who have been in sameness for a long time, and sameness is no longer working for one or both of them. And usually one of them is more okay with the sameness than the other. And back to your point of polarity, I often tell my couples and that I work with, that's okay. That's actually a benefit. It is lovely to have a more grounded soul and a dreamer soul inside of a chosen partnership. That's great, because somebody's pulling and somebody's grounding. You need both. Because 2 grounders, they're just going to sit around and not go anywhere in the world. You need both a spender and a saver. You need both a creator and a planner. It is really good. And it doesn't matter gender or orientation, not at all. And also with these polarities where Trey was speaking about, gender doesn't matter again. You just need polarities, but because what they cause is friction. And erotically and intellectually, it's good for us, even if it's uncomfy. But yeah, sameness. If the question was what turns you on, curiosity and the unknown, probably what turns me off the most is sameness. Yeah.
Caretaking.
Yeah.
For me,
Okay.
caretaking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which is interesting because I know that, and I wonder if that's one of my fears. But I can see what Robin was saying yesterday, which was, no, you're not asking Trey to care for you. You are thinking about the different supports that you need. You are making requests, and then he is getting to decide in his own agency whether or not he is willing to provide you with those things and in what capacity and to what extent. Because I do know that caretaking is a turnoff for you. And so
It's a turnoff universally.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. You know the research as well as I do.
I live with you. You're the research.
What does the baby say? She mocks me. And she goes, according to the research.
Yeah. You know, Dr. Jack Moran. Dr. Jack Moran says, oh.
Yeah, it's like the baby can quote the erotic
Babe, it's
mind.
9 o'clock at night.
It's fast. You know what? It makes me feel less alone. I think that when somebody has studied thousands and thousands of people and found similarities, it feels really validating. And so I love research. I know not everybody does, but I quote it all the time. Okay, so what's the difference between, we can kind of wrap up on this note. I know we're probably already nearing the end of all time for this short hotcast.
It's a hot cast. It's a short hot cast.
How much time do we have left, sir?
We got 11 minutes.
We can talk about so much in 11 minutes.
We'll bathe in these 11 minutes.
Look at us, luxuriate. What's the difference between caretaking and offering support?
Maybe one, there's a discussion and negotiation.
Cool.
And maybe the other, not so much, where there's almost like they're helpless or they can't do it. I had a conversation with a husband, and he was talking about his wife, and it's like, she can't handle it. She can't handle it. When I was like, okay, what about the options? I kept trying to present options, and they were all shut down because it's like, no, she can't do that. She can't handle it. She's never been able to handle it. It was that type of kind of mindset.
You and I know too that that's an aspect of infantilization. We've dealt with that a little bit when Dr. Hamilton said, like, it's Princess in the Tower type of thing, right? Mm-hmm. She can't do this on her own.
And that was in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so much projection. Another thing that Robin was telling me yesterday is, some of these wounds I have around, if I go forward, you're going to feel bulldozed. You're going to feel taken advantage of. You're going to feel like I left you behind. You're going to feel like that I'm full of ego. All of these things. She kept going, where's that coming from? Where's that coming from? And wouldn't you know, I had actual human beings who had said all of these things to me. And she said, you know what? I want to call out that was their own projection that they put into your domain.
Yeah. Like I feel like it's truly a reflection where if I'm critical of others, I ask myself, are you criticizing yourself at this time? In 1,000% of the time, it's yes. Mm-hmm. We're truly reflecting.
Yes.
Where there's value in, like, if somebody says something to you, they're thinking that about themselves. What's the difference for you between?
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit it so much on the head. I think with caretaking, there's this parentification of the self.
The other person's maybe helpless.
Yes. And
It's
then
almost like
projecting that the other is helpless.
When someone's sick, that's a version of it.
Yes.
But it's when someone's in bed with the flu.
Yeah.
That's a version of it, but it's different when they're not.
Yes. Yes. No,
Yeah.
I think that is a well-formulated thought.
I think that's why depression is really hard to understand.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you're not sick. You don't have the flu. It's like, I can't get out of fucking bed. And it's like, oh, shit. And support is beautiful, but like, I don't think there's a lot of room for excitement in the erotic. Mm-hmm. If like a partner's in that state, I've never dealt with it, so I'm speaking in theory right now, which I don't want to do a lot of, but
yeah. And Adrienne Maree Brown would say that's a beautiful instance to say, hey, this feels like a really good time to bring in a professional.
Yep.
Because again, inside of partnership, there's your work, there's my work, there's our work. Mm-hmm. And we all deserve mental health help. We all deserve it. And for our partner to simultaneously play that role is a lot to ask of one person. So interesting, we talked about codependency earlier. This is one of the ways in which our culture is so codependent, right? So whatever conversation you were having with that person and they were like, oh, she can't handle it, she's never been able to handle it, that sounds like a great time to bring in a professional, right? There is nothing wrong with our partnerships. We just get help. We're not supposed to function in these vacuums. We're not supposed to have it all together and do it all perfectly. It is so stunningly beautiful.
Yeah, and then if you want to scratch the surface on getting help, you don't necessarily need to go to a professional first, or if you have hesitations about that, but like, are there couples or is there a person in your sphere that you really admire their relationship or how they go about things or how they talk or how they communicate? You could ask them for advice. It doesn't mean you have to follow it, but...
How would that feel to you if one of your male friends came to you and said, hey, would you think less of him?
I'd think more of him.
Why?
Well, I mean, it's a tremendous compliment. I love being invited in. I love giving advice instead of like putting it out there. I love being requested for advice. I'm a firm believer in coaching and mentorship. Yeah, no, I think more of them.
Why do you think so many men don't have those conversations with one another?
I don't know. Maybe the stigma that they have to do it all on their own, or that they have to figure it out, and or they've been told that they're the head of the house. I've been thinking about that recently with a lot of fundamentalist religions where I don't think it's not even a discussion of what if the woman's better at this? What if the woman's the leader? What if the woman can make the money? What if it should be reversed where the man can like support the household and do all these things? But it's never even a discussion in a lot of fundamentalist religions in America. How interesting. And then it's one of those things where they don't say this word because it's a dirty word now. And they build these systems to really avoid this word, but property. What if the woman is the dynamic leader and the moneymaker and all these things, and that's not even discussion?
And what if the
you
man...
dumb cunts. You dumb cunts.
It's so interesting that you
And
bring
I'm
this up.
speaking to the men.
No, you are. This is
I
so
don't
interesting.
use cunt to describe women. I'll describe it for men all day.
I think this is really interesting because one of the things that got brought up is my fear of allowing your help with things that I was indoctrinated to believe are women's work. And Robin was like,
and then
whoa.
my mind goes to like, we're not past that yet. We're
I
working on 6
know.
fucking years
Literally,
together.
I know. It's this future version. It's somehow...
It's a turn on. Go out there and like be all that you can be. Sorry, United States Army. But like, it's a big turn on internally for me.
Especially when it's well communicated and negotiated.
And then come home.
Right.
And it's not, this is not how you operate where it's like, I have to do all this. You need to stay here. You need to take care of the kid. You need to take care of the family. I have to go out there. I work so hard. That's not your vibe. And if that were your vibe, we'd need to have a discussion.
Right.
It's never been your vibe. You set me up for success, and I hope I do the same thing for you when we leave the fucking house.
Yes.
Because it's gonna be, it's got to be a two-way street.
Yes.
If I'm much less shitty at golf, and I go start playing tournaments, state to state, and I'm gone for, I don't know, a week or 5 days or whatever it is. It's not gonna.
Do you know what also I just thought there? Is that you also know that I can take care of myself.
I trust that you can take care of it. You know what? I also have to trust that you can take care of yourself because I know how to take care of you so well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know that you need a coffee refill, so I bring up the coffee and the creamer, and then I say, you speak well of me.
Out in those streets.
To all of your high-value ladies, you speak well to Trey, not only. So, I know you can take care of yourself too, and I have to trust that. And then also, like, I want to take care of you also. I have to.
Yes.
She can't do it on her own. It's like, ooh, I can help here. Because that's one of my things.
No, my job.
One of my superpowers.
I think that is the beautiful piece underneath it all, is that I want to be in your life. And that's what had me again in tears yesterday in my coaching session was I don't want to get to the next stage of my journey and look beside me and be alone.
To build all this stuff to just be alone.
I worked really hard to become the type of woman who got to be in partnership with a type of man like you.
Thanks, babe. I like you too.
Yeah. I want to do things like bring you coffee. I do bring you coffee sometimes.
You bring me coffee all the time, babe.
Okay. Well, speak well of me too in those streets.
Nope.
Yeah. I think difference between caretaking, and support. Yeah.
We got to wrap up.
I'm wrapping up. Thanks for coming to this episode of the Partnership Podcast.
I'm in charge of when we wrap up.
This is what I always imagined in these chairs. Remember that these are our opinions and our opinions only. You have a right to self-determination and informed decision making. If you would like to chat with someone like me who's a sex coach and sexuality educator, you can go to sexedforyou.com/free consult. Fill in that form. Tell me you heard us on the Partnership Podcast, and I would love to tell you how I work with clients and see if we might be a good fit. Please subscribe, share, do all that juicy stuff, and join us again next week. Bye, y'all.